Roger Earl became more than just a cameraman or producer of gay erotica during the Golden Age. Earl was a documentarian who managed to capture intense BDSM and kink sessions in some of the truest forms of erotic cinema verité. Often polarizing and definitely shocking viewers, Earl created a look familiar and associated with one of his films. On this episode, we're going to celebrate Roger Earl, a documentarian of BDSM and gay erotic films who strategically planned in pre-production to ensure realism the minute he yelled, "Action." This is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. Before we continue, I want to once again remind you to help this channel by clicking the subscribe button and selecting the bell icon for notifications to see more content like this. Every little bit helps and I absolutely appreciate it. Thank you. Roger Earl was born Roger Warniggs in January of 1939 in Barstow, California. Earl grew up in Ludlow, a town of 35 people 50 miles outside of Barstow. He was the only child in the town and remembers being spoiled rotten by his parents and the people in the town. His father owned a truck stop, garage, motel, and cafe. In an interview with Jack Fritzscher of Drummer magazine, Earl mentioned being sexually active early on and that truck drivers who came into town knew of his sexual prowess. Later on, as a young man in Hollywood, Earl got a job at NBC after meeting a man named George Lawson at a Hollywood Hills party. This man, George, was a set carpenter for NBC, and by the end of the night, Earl was whipping and spanking George's ass near the basement of the house. George would then tell Earl that he and his friends wanted to make a very heavy S&M film. Earl said he would do it if they made the film with him. But George wanted nothing to do with the project. However, this is where Earl would meet his future business partner, Terry LeGrand. After spending some time learning the craft from camera operators and producers at NBC, in 1974, Earl took out a personal loan of $10,000 to finance the film that would become Born to Raise Hell. A good amount of time went by before Earl started his next production. This is because of trying to recoup a lot of the money that went into making Born to Raise Hell. Luckily, Earl still had his job at NBC and kept working. His next project was Men of Midway.
Hey, Ted. The vacation's over. Wake up. Hey, get up. Hey, listen to me. There's gonna be some changes around here.
Changes?
Yeah. Now listen. Now that your old lady's gone, we're gonna have to put your ass out on the street. Get some bucks coming in here.
No!
Look at
No!
Don't argue with me.
No way!
As long as you're living in this dump,
No
do what I
way!
tell you to
No.
do.
The film was a lighter fare than Earl had previously offered, but with all of his lighter projects, Earl would include hints of S&M. His filmography would grow, with such classics like Gayracula and Chain Reactions to name a few, preparing the audience for an intense European series that was unparalleled at the time. By this time, Earl was working as an associate producer on The Dean Martin Show for NBC, and would then become Martin's road manager when he went on tour. During a Palladium tour in London, Earl asked Martin's manager, who was also in London, if he can stay on in Europe. Martin's manager agreed, and Earl and Terry plotted to shoot a film in Europe. Between the both of them, they put their credit cards together and began shooting a film that would eventually become the Dungeons of Europe trilogy. When they were done and they arrived back in the United States, Earl began separating everything into 3 films. Earl and LeGrand shot for 10 days in London, Amsterdam, Berlin, and East Berlin, shooting at all hours of the day, capturing anything and everything they could. Earl made some of his best work shooting in West Berlin in 1989. They went to leather bars and asked people if they were interested in being in a film. Earl felt meeting people in their element ensured that they were really into the scene. Terry LeGrand, Earl's business partner, founded Marathon Films and gifted it to Earl when LeGrand went back to school for a degree in medicine and social work. LeGrand would go on to start a halfway house for men who had been released from prison with AIDS. Legrand became very active in the AIDS fight and lost all interest in the film business. Earl began to work for the Tom of Finland Foundation and ran a small mail-order business selling marathon titles. When the industry began to shift to DVDs, Earl sold all of his titles and rights to Stephen Tushin and his company Bijou Video. Roger Earl is alive and well today in Los Angeles. In an interview with Markel Siedelman, Earl says he wakes up from time to time with plots and plans for new films, but doesn't have the ambition or physical ability to make another film at 76. Earl retired in 2007 and is proud of the contributions that he has made to gay porn. He rightfully received the Lifetime Achievement Award by GayVN in 2009. Earl has gone on to say in an interview that if it wasn't for Fred Halstead and LA Plays Itself, he would have never made Born to Raise Hell. With around 45 films and videos in his roster, Roger Earl is a documentarian who searched out not models, but people who practiced what you saw in his films. Roger Earl is a director whose bold images and risk-taking films will forever live on as part of an era. Fun fact, Roger Earl said he had already visualized Born to Raise Hell after his first meeting with George Lawson, the man who wanted to make a heavy S&M film. He had already seen the motorcycle guy with the tattoo Born to Raise Hell. But did you know the first choice for the lead in the film was a cult studio model named Paul Guerrier, who vintage porn lovers would remember better as Liedermeister? You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I am your host, Ike Grande. Demystifying Gay Porn can be found on every podcast directory as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, Discord. And if you like what you're watching and want to be a part of the process, head over to patreon.com/demystifying gay porn, where you can help support this channel and I can continue making content like this. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Cheers.